Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to what is it? Do you know what the answer is?
The dark side, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought he said suffering. Doesn't he say suffering?
Oh, it is.
See, I knew
suffering leads to the dark side. Which one goes
suffering,
to the dark side
first?
first?
I don't know. It's something about the dark side at some point, but
yeah.
I saw you. Quote,
they're on the track, and they're going to the dark side. That's all you got to know.
That's all you got to know. See, I saw you quote Star Wars in your video, so I'm like, this guy, he's got to be some kind of a Star Wars nerd. But
yeah, I don't hold a candle to my wife though. She is the total Star Wars nerd, so she'll totally school me.
There we go. Well, brothers and sisters, or ladies and gentlemen, we have a fun show today. On the program today, we have the Rock and Roll Fireside. Rock and Roll Fireside. So we're going to have a few different segments. First, through Elephant's Eyes, we're going to talk to the Rock and Roll Fireside host about his video he made about anti-Mormon pastors that I also made a video on. So we're going to have a fun conversation reaction there. Then we'll get into Trunk Treasures, the hidden gems across the internet. Daily Wire hates Mormons? And comment reaction. I just saw that Greg, did you hear of the Daily Liar LDS backlash? Well, we're going to talk about a little bit about that in the Trunk Treasures. And last, you'll want to stick around for the Big Ear Bulletin, where marriage rates are set to increase. What's that all about? And last, a new documentary, an LDS documentary, sparks controversy. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Let's get to the first segment. This is Through Elephant's Eyes. All right. My screen over here froze. There we go. The herd of elephants going by. Okay, so I found the Rock and Roll Fireside channel, which, by the way, we also got to talk about the fact that you are also go by the alias of Brother James Jams.
Brother Jacob's Jams.
Jacob's Jams. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a biblical name. You got it right. Starts with a J. There you go.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so embarrassed. It's Jacob's Jams?
Yeah, Brother Jacob's Jams.
Jacobs, yeah, because your last name is Jacobs.
It's not an apostrophe S. It's not an apostrophe S. It's Jacobs, like without the apostrophe. That's very confusing.
Okay, well I've been listening to your music, and I like it. So if everyone, you got to look up on Spotify, Brother Jacob's Jams. So you got to guess. I have a favorite song that I listened to a few times. Like, okay, this is my favorite song by far. Which one of your songs do you think is my favorite? That's what I want to hear from you.
Okay, all right. Let me think. Is it Keep On Pushing?
No, I think that's one of your more popular ones, though.
Well, yeah. So is it all right? You got to give me a little hint here. Is it more chill or is it more energetic?
A little more chill, I think.
Okay, all right.
It's on the chill end. Yeah, it's not as upbeat as some of your other ones.
Okay. Chapel Doors.
No.
Oh
no.
I don't. Okay, last chance.
Yeah, last chance.
Follow.
Let's see. No.
Follow.
Those are all good ones. No, okay. My favorite one. I was wondering if this is like one that you don't usually hear is like the favorite, but everyone, if you're listening in, you have homework. You got to go find the song. You got to listen to the lyrics, and just listen deeply to the lyrics and enjoy it, because I'm a sucker for the Book of Mormon. So it comes from your Book of Mormon album. There's a whole album dedicated to the Book of Mormon. It's awesome stuff. It's, oh my gosh, Moroni's.
Wait, Moroni's Farewell. I should have called that, man.
I love that one.
Moroni's Farewell.
do you write those songs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And a matter of fact, you hit on the one that kind of started it all.
Oh really? Yeah, I like that one. It's like
thanks.
I was listening to it and I kind of laughed at first because I'm like, he's like talking to the golden plates, but I was like, by the end I was like, this is like a wonderful poem, like put to music. So I was like, I like this. So I listened to it a number of times today. I was just like, yeah, I don't want to sing it, so I'm not singing, but
right on. No, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
but
so everyone,
biased. I like them all.
Go check it out. He's got a whole You see, look, it might not be your thing to listen to like that kind of music, and that's fine. But what you can do is bring some light into the world by elevating this type of good, positive content about the Book of Mormon. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So check him out on Spotify, people. I didn't even know like how much music you actually made until today. And so I was like kind of going through it all. I was like, I found that one. I was like, I like this one. I got to talk to him about it. Anyway, I'm talking too much.
I appreciate that. No, that's good.
So Christian pastors, you made a video on your channel, Rock and Roll Fireside, which, by the way, Kyle, can I come?
Yes.
Can I tell everyone your name?
Too
late. Sorry.
Yeah. As long as you get it right. That's...
Yeah. And I found this video. I think a few other people. I think I saw a comment from Ward Radio on there or something. And you know, it was a good video. You talked about it. You got some good clips, and I was like, okay, I need to like remix this video somehow. So I reached out to you, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna remix your video. I'm gonna make it like quote you in this video because I want to kind of make my own version of it. And so I did. I even took some of the same clips you had of different pastors added. Good old Jeff Durbin involved. Jeff Borders, the author of the Antichrist Playbook. So first off, what made you want to make a video about Christian pastors?
You know, that's a good question. Honestly, I started following some of them, not knowing who they were. Like their content popped up on my Instagram feed, and it was Mark Driscoll.
Oh yeah,
And I really, a lot of the things he was saying, I really liked. He was talking about like the need for fathers in the home, and I was like, hey, this guy's right on, you know. And I didn't realize what I was getting into. So I follow him, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy hates us. And, you know, it just kind of clicked for me where I'm like, a lot of their arguments are so unreasonable that there's got to be something else behind it. You know, like how many times do we have to say that we're Christians? Okay, we've got some disagreements on some of the finer points of things, but we follow Christ. We try to emulate Christ, but they're like, no, you're not Christians. And then you get guys like Driscoll, and apparently he's got the authority and the power to condemn people to hell because he tells us we're going to hell all the time. I'm like, what is with this dude?
I love your line in your video where you're like, hey, just because you say we have a different Jesus doesn't mean your Jesus said you're allowed to condemn people to hell.
Right. I was like, did he give anybody the power to do that? Like, come on now. So, but yeah, it was just so unreasonable. And, you know, and it's always the same thing. It's you're a cult. And then, you know, history, Joseph Smith and all that stuff, whatever that is. But there are some that are just completely intransigent. They will not move. Like they will argue till you're blue in the face that the sky is red. And you're like, that's not healthy. Like what is going on here? And to me, I'm like, I know that people will react like that when money is involved, when putting food on the table is involved. You know, I put myself in that position of like, what if I couldn't provide for my family? And I'm like, oh man, I would get desperate. And I was like, that's what these guys sound like. They sound desperate. And so I tried to just follow that trail a little bit. And, you know, just through some simple digging, like these guys are loaded. They're rich.
Some
like,
of them
beyond
are
your wildest
bringing
dreams,
in
you know?
some money.
Right. Yeah. And so to me, it was just the addition and putting two and two together. I'm like, you guys view us as a threat to your bottom line. And so that's kind of what prompted that video to try to explore that a little bit.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you came from the opposite direction of what maybe people suspected, where instead of thinking, oh, they make money, so I'm going to retrace and like say that they hate us. Instead, you found the hate and then said, no, why is this happening? And then found that they're making money. You're like, okay, maybe that explains it.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Is hate too strong of a word? Because if they really believe we're going to hell, isn't it loving for them to want to save us from hell?
Yeah. You know, maybe you're right. Hate's usually too strong of a word. So that there's no doubt about that. And, you know, and I've heard that argument before, like, hey, we're just trying to save you. And I'm like, if that's the case, you're going about it super aggressive, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's not the act of like if you're drowning and someone's like, here, let me save you. I'm going to beat you over the head with this oar because I love you. And I'm like, so, you know, hate is a strong word.
Yeah.
But I don't see them coming to the table and having actual conversations. I just see that, and I don't see all, so maybe they have.
That's true.
But they go to their congregations and just tell everyone how awful we are. And I'm like, that's certainly not the act of a Christian disciple, I don't think, especially when there is no like good faith conversations going on.
Yeah. And That's interesting because I'm thinking about the word hate because I put it in the thumbnail here. Let me pull up the thumbnail again. And some people are a little bit mad, but it's like, I don't necessarily, as we kind of think about this out loud, I'm thinking they don't necessarily hate individual members per se. I think they more of hate like the church.
Yes.
As this body. And so like some people like read this, and I'm mostly trying to get people to click and watch the video. You know, and they're like, oh, like hate. And some people are kind of like, well, you guys hate us, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into comments coming up, so stick around for it.
Ooh, all right.
So yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, like I'm just kind of thinking, yeah, it's not like when they say why so much hate, it's not that they hate specific people, but they do talk like they hate the church. And I think the biggest example of that is this idea that the church is a cult. It's like, come on, people.
Geez. Right.
It just keeps getting brought up every time. And so like your clips that you found were really good. I added a few more. Like the different Jesus thing is like, okay, like, sure, there's differences in like, there are some fundamental differences in the nature of God. You know, we can get with that, but like, I don't know. It's not very helpful to say you have a different Jesus. In fact, that's why I kind of like some of these other pastors, like Pastor Jeff. You've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy.
Right.
He's not saying those things. He won't say, which is funny because he is a pastor. And so he has to kind of, you know, be a little careful about what he says. Because he can't just be like, oh, of course all Latter-day Saints are Christian. I don't think he'd be willing to say that. But he doesn't say we're not Christian.
Right. See, and that's a good thing. You know, and I'll tell you what's been interesting. A lot of this rise of LDS influencers have kind of embraced that topic a little bit by saying, and I think even Elder Holland said it in a conference years ago. I shouldn't even bring that up without having the reference, but he's like, maybe we do believe in a different Jesus, you know, like it you know, and this idea of like, hey, will you please let us into your club? There's a little bit of pushback on that from our side where it's like, you know what? We don't follow the creedal Christian philosophy, and that's not a bad thing, you know? And so but I think you're right. You know, a lot of these guys, you hit the nail on the head. They hate the church. But I don't understand why they can be so like, almost like inviting and say, let me put my arm around you. You're going to burn in hell. And I'm like, wait, so it's like, what do you actually think of us? You know, because on our end, you know, I realize that some could see this as hypocrisy because we are able to say like, no, they're wrong. And they can say that we're wrong. And you know what? I think that's okay. I'm like, okay, we can still love each other. We can still serve each other. But like, even just from the fact of like, get doctrine out of the way for a second, the charitable donations, the service time that members of the church put in, that the church promotes and facilitates, you can't possibly think that we're actually going to hell when we're so helpful, you know? So I don't get it. So a lot of the reason that I put this video out is just some confusion. Like, what is the deal here?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have differences, and it's okay to call those differences out. It's even healthy to do so. But yeah, it gets to you're going to hell and you guys are a cult, and you're like, hey, you kind of crossed the line there.
You know, I think it is the difference between orthodoxy versus orthopraxy, right? Where they care that you believe the Trinity.
Yeah.
And we care like less about the exact beliefs and more about how you practice, you know, how you live your life. But the thing that's funny is like most of the people in the pews probably don't believe the Trinity in the way that they want people to believe in it, because you know, there's some interesting, there's a reason that you have to have some of the like big philosophers trying to talk about what the Trinity is, and even then it's like gets really confusing.
Well, and on top of that, you see it as well where it's like, maybe we can't follow this logically. And as a pastor, maybe they understand that. And so their message has to be cranked up in volume. Instead of saying like, hey, let's think about this here a little bit. Let's talk about these scriptures that may point to the Trinity, not the way that we understand it, not being the right thing. But no. They've got to be loud. They've got to be demonstrative. Mormons are going to hell. And I see that a lot, not just in like religious circles, but in politics as well. You see that all the time, where it's like you don't really have a good argument, and so you are hyper aggressive, you are hyper loud and in your face if if you're with an opponent, to cow them, to get them to draw back. And if you're with people who you want to stick in your flock and be believers, they're drawn to that vehemence. They're drawn to that
vehemence. Nice word.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I hope I used it right. I'm
I don't know, man. It sounded good.
But yeah, we're gonna say we used it right. But they're drawn to that charisma of being loud and confident, very boisterous. And they're like, okay. And it's like, man, in the quiet moments when you're reading your scriptures on your own, what do you know? What do you feel about this? Does anything stick out to you that that causes you to doubt? Which is one reason I did another video where I'm like, look, whenever you get into a bash, really the only answer is read the Book of Mormon. Like we can go back and forth all day long. And I think there is a place for things like apologetics and describing logic. I think that does have a place, but it should be pointing people to the Book of Mormon, because I don't know of any other church that says, don't take our word for it. Read the book and pray. And then you can find out for yourself. And, with these mega pastors who hate us, I don't hear them saying that. I hear them loudly leading a group of people into a fervor against us.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity to shout out once again your Spotify music. So everyone, this guy makes some great music. It's if you want, just put a smile on your face, you got to check it out. Moroni's Farewell. It's my recommended song. Just listen to the lyric. Right. I'm a sucker for the Book of Mormon. I love the Book of Mormon. And so,
and I'll tell you what, I got to put a little plug here. If you're in Arizona, September 20th, we're putting on a show of that album, Speaking from the Dust, musical celebration of the Book of Mormon, because that album is, it's 14 songs and it's all sung from the perspective of Book of Mormon heroes. And the first one that I wrote was Moroni's Farewell. I was like, man, we got to write a whole album like this. And so it's fun. And so we're performing it live on the 20th. So I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah. What other band do you know has a full album, 14 songs just dedicated to the Book of Mormon? That is so epic, man. It's cool. It's good. It's good stuff. All right. So let's get into our next segment where we're going to react to some of what others are saying, what you people who watch the video are saying, and all the stuff. I know a lot of people are kind of talking about the Daily Wire, the Daily Liar. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I haven't been following it super closely, but we'll definitely get into that. So let's get into the Trunk Treasures. These are the treasures across the internet that we are going to react to. Real quick, before we get to the treasures, I need to remind you about the purpose of this channel, which is to elevate members of the church by building bridges of understanding through fun and informative content, and to help honest actors to take the church seriously by exposing limitations of critics and correcting misconceptions. With that, we have some members to thank for helping make this channel what it is. We have Jacob Wardle, Curious Mad Cat, Velvet June, and we have our mammoth members. I should put in some kind of echo for that.
Right?
Jared Jensen, Kiori. I'm reading your book still. I read basically half of it over in the first minute I got it, but then we were in the process of moving, and I'm picking it back up again. But it was kind of I had to take a pause there for a minute because we moved. Yeah, breaking news. So Kiori, thank you for sending the book. I'm still reading it. I'm enjoying it. Then we got Jane Hakilai P9W. I don't know how to say the name, but Jane and with two N's. And then we got Thorgus. Thorgus 951. Thank you.
Dude, what a name. Thorgus. Shoot, man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous now.
Thank you for helping, help us deliver a great product to you. But anyway, let's get to the hidden gems across the internet. First, did I skip one? No. Okay. First, speaking of Curie, So he says, "Oh, I'm going to hell to empty it of its prisoners." And that was one of the top comments on the video that I published. So nice, Curie. But let's get into some that are a little bit more controversial. So Crow Avon says at 2:29. I don't remember exactly what's happening at that exact moment, but they enough to move to Utah when I, as a journeyman electrician, was forced to leave due to living and housing costs. Oh, he's talking about how much do they make. And so he was saying, hey, like they make enough to be able to move to Utah where I can't really afford to live, but Pastor Jeff can. I'm looking at you, Pastor Jeff. So Pastor Jeff famously didn't know much about members of the church, started getting to know us, made some videos about it, and then moved to Utah where he can at least afford to live, even though it is pretty darn expensive, which it is. I mean, a lot of states are, pretty much every state is. So your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, again, the context is a little bit weird on this one. Is he knocking Pastor Jeff for being rich? Is that what we're talking? He's knocking
Pastor Jeff for him making enough money to be able to move to Utah when he can't as an electrician, journeyman electrician. See,
to me, I don't think there's anything wrong or evil with being rich. Having money, like having success is an okay thing.
But as a pastor, where you're collecting tithing funds?
That's where it comes to. So it's like I think that's one thing it's good to delineate on. Like, look, success isn't the problem, but like if your congregation is your product or are your customers, I should say, then that could be a problem. I think my concern with that would be like, well, if you've got to keep your customers, what do you need to change in the product? Like, what do you need to morph with the tastes of the people? And so, I don't know. I'd hate to just throw out somebody just because they're successful. It's just a danger zone for me.
So, I mean, he is probably making money outside of his pastorship. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you know, he does have a YouTube channel, and that's why we know who he is. But he did move to Utah. And was moving to Utah a business decision? I think so. And I don't think I have a problem with that. But it's like, yeah, he's been making content about members of the church. He moves to Utah because there's more members of the church and more opportunities to make content, more people to talk to, more places to visit. He's like, I'm just tired of traveling to Salt Lake to see all this stuff. I'm just going to live there. And
well, and I'll tell you, that's a commitment, man. Like you moved your whole family to Utah for this.
Yeah, and it's a good state.
Right. Yeah, it's a great state, but
it's a business decision, I think, at the end of the day, though. I think it is.
Yeah.
Which but I don't blame him for it at all. I think it's a smart business decision because I think he's found a good market to like be nice to Latter-day Saints and like at least make videos that are interesting.
Right.
So, and it's probably good for his ministry, if you will. But
multiple birds with one stone.
Multiple birds with one stone, and
a very expensive stone.
He's doing good enough to afford to live there. That's right. But maybe it's not all from him just being a pastor. I think it might be from some other stuff too. Oh, sorry, I kind of jumped the gun here. So next one. Why do they hate us so much? It's super simple. Pastors don't hate Mormons. They hate your false theology. It's that simple.
Ooh.
Your thoughts from Elias B100.
I mean, if our theology causes us to serve and to give and to lift people and to have the greatest welfare program in the history of mankind and to help lift people out of poverty and to serve the poor and the needy, which is one of the purposes of Christ's church, well, then it's up to them if they want to hate that, I guess. But I wouldn't be in that camp.
Well, I don't have much to add. That was really well said, because you're right. You know, it's is it really false if its fruits are so good? Well, I think Jesus has some thoughts about that he said explicitly in the Bible. So there you go.
Bingo.
All right. Jeffrey Palmer 2661 says, why did Joseph Smith claim Jesus told him all other churches are wrong? Sounds like he started it. So the hate started with Joseph Smith because Jesus told him that all other churches are wrong.
Yeah, to me, again, disagreement doesn't mean hate. There's a big difference there. So, put yourself in Joseph Smith's shoes. I'm sure he was shocked, and I think he was. Doesn't he say it? He hadn't ever considered that they were all wrong, and so he gets this revelation and says, "Okay, they're all wrong." Who does he go to first? He goes to them to talk to the pastor, be like, "Hey, here's what happened." It's not like he chased that pastor with a pitchfork and said, "Okay, God told me I gotta hate you now." Like, no, he went to talk to him, and then that pastor totally rejected him and kicked him out the door. So I don't know. It's a funny game to play, like who was hateful first, but it wasn't Joseph.
Yeah, I agree.
not the one who was killed for his beliefs, who was tarred and feathered, all these things that he went through, and Joseph started the hate.
Yeah.
No.
So if you ask Stephen Pinecker, who's not a member of our faith, and my friend Stephen Pinecker, he's an evangelical, and but he looks into a lot of stuff related to the church a lot, and he thinks that one of the biggest catalysts for the restoration was when Alvin died and the pastor said he's in hell because he didn't get baptized. And so him as an evangelical says, like, look, this was like a major thing. Like, the evangelicals in that day are part of the reason why we ended up with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, And I think there's some truth to that, in the sense that, that sparked some revelations about the spirit world and all that in the Doctrine and Covenants. So, like, it's kind of the opposite, Jeffrey.
It's a very interesting point, though. Like, what caused Joseph to start asking those questions? We know of his famous going into James 1:5, all that stuff. What sent him on his way to that? Something stuck in his mind, like something is not right here. Very well could be that. That's an intriguing thought.
No, I mean, there was a lot of, it was the Second Great Awakening. You had a lot of very fervent pastors who were preaching about hell a lot, and like fire and brimstone type of sermons, from what I understand. So,
fear-based, very based in fear.
I think so, at least from what I've seen and read. Okay, here's the next one. You do know that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has paid clergy, right? So I'm pretty sure what they're referring to is the stipends that once you get to the point where you are required to quit your job and retire to be in a calling, you do have a stipend so that you can live, because I don't know how else you would live.
Right. Yep. And usually these guys are giving up millions to do that. I mean, our general authorities were very successful in their former lives. It's you hear this all the time, and I don't have a perfect answer for it, but I have zero problem whatsoever with our general authorities being paid a stipend. We just got visited from a member of the presidency of the 70 for our state conference, and I'm like, this guy, he's living a completely consecrated life, giving everything. And it's not like he's rolling around in a Bentley.
No.
Doesn't have this 6,000 square foot mansion. It's a totally different ball of wax. But you look at the bishops and the stake presidents, and I don't know, I really don't think that even many members understand how much service and how much time it takes for a bishop to do what he does.
Hardest calling in the church.
Hands down. And I served in a bishopric, and one of the first thoughts that I had, I'd been serving for a couple of months, and I'm like, even fully active, loving members don't get it. They don't get how much he is sacrificing for this. And so I get a little bit hot around the collar when someone's like, well, my bishop said this, and I'm so mad at him. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know what he's giving up, Yeah. And so I don't know. I just wanted to throw that shout out to bishops and stake presidents everywhere. Like, we see your sacrifice, because it is for real.
Yeah. So, yeah. And as far as like the paid part, kind of going back to this comment, it really only starts when you have to give up your job. So I think mission presidents get a little stipend while they're gone. I don't think, and then, I don't even think all 70s do. I think just the ones that are in like the first and second quorum.
You're right. So the general authority 70s do. So because we had an area 70 tag along, or not tag along, I shouldn't say it like that, but like he was his companion to the presidency of the 70 who came to us. And he explained to us, he's like, yeah, he's in area 70. He goes to work Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, he flies all over the country. all over the
It's
area
crazy.
to accompany us. I'm like, dude, that guy is busy.
Yeah, like, would you want to get paid a little stipend to never be able to retire?
Yeah, or at least just like foot the Burger King bill. Just be like, hey, can I have some food here? You know?
Well, yeah.
But
Well, what I'm saying is, like, it's not like these people, like, no one would choose that as a career to, like, I'm
Right.
gonna take a small stipend. I'm never gonna get like a raise. Besides, like, I'm sure they like adjust it for inflation every so often and whatnot.
Right.
But they're not like giving themselves bonuses. Like, hey, we got this many baptisms, so we're gonna give
yeah,
ourselves.
right.
No, they don't run it like that.
Commission.
In
Yeah.
fact, the church owns different business entities where they pay people much more than what like the Quorum of the 12 get, for example.
Yeah.
And by the way, the funny thing is, this is so silly to me when people are like, the church has billions of dollars. It's like, okay, like who's spending it then? Like, if
Right.
there's such a corporation, then like why is there no Mormon mobile? Sorry,
Right.
Catholics. Like why is President Nelson living in like a tiny apartment in Salt Lake so he can like attend his meet and like traveling around and working when he's over 100 years old? His birthday's like right around the corner.
And you think about that. You think about these guys. They are by the world's terms ancient. And like,
Yeah.
look, I'm 40 years old, and I want to kick back
You don't
with
look-
a glass of lemonade and be done and be retired. Can you imagine being 89, 90, 95 years old and you're like, I'm still working and I'm working harder than I ever have?
Yeah.
That's-
Traveling like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't no vacation for you.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. and you get like just a little bit of money to survive. Yeah.
Right.
You're not like, they're not living billionaire lives. So like, I think the people who make such arguments about the church being some corporation need to make better arguments, because I just don't see that. I don't see that. It's like, okay, there's got to be something else here. And I think the simple answer is, whether you believe it or not, is there is very sincere belief within the church. So,
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one here. Oh, maybe. If I have another one, do I have another one? Oh, no, that's the last one. So let's get to this part, which is this controversy, which all started. So do you know much about the Daily Wire?
I do know the Daily Wire. I'm not like a subscriber or anything like that, but
Okay, so you got Ben Shapiro, you got Michael Knowles, you got Andrew Klavan.
Yep.
You have Jeremy Boring he was the CEO. He's the owner with Ben Shapiro, and he was the CEO. I think he stepped down, so he's no longer CEO, but he's still obviously heavily involved as the part owner. Yep. And they, make a lot of conservative content. Each of their hosts kind of have different spins to it. You got Matt Walsh, who, is very conservative. He's a Catholic. Michael Knowles is also Catholic. Ben Shapiro is a Jew, and Andrew Klavan is a Christian. And so is Jeremy Boring. So they're very rooted in Judeo-Christian values. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you have a lot of members of the church who really like them. I'm a big fan of a lot of their content, and I follow stuff like that quite frequently, actually. And so I like the Daily Wire a lot. I think what they're doing is great when it comes to kind of giving alternative media. Now, I'm not a subscriber like yourself, because, I just listen to the free version of the podcast that they have.
Yep.
And I enjoy it. But controversy broke out. Have you heard of this controversy? Do you know much about this?
I don't know much about it. I've seen a headline like, oh, everyone's getting rid of their Daily Wire subscription. I was like, what's this all about? I didn't click on it though.
Yeah, it's a little, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, people in the chat who disagree with me, but it's a little bit overblown. Like, relax. Like, let's not be so dramatic. Anyway, this guy, Cabot Phillips, he's an employee of the Daily Wire. He's one of their I don't remember what position he has, but he's pretty high up there. Maybe someone in the chat can help me out with what he has. But he just decided to tweet out some anti-Mormon talking points. So let's read this right here. Before founding Mormonism, Joseph Smith ran a scam business using a magical seer stone, which he said directed him to buried treasure on people's property. In 1826, he was put on trial for ripping so many people off. In 1827, he just happened to dig up the golden plates that became the Book of Mormon. Totally not shady. And
I love how he's acting like he's breaking some news. Like, you guys have been talking about this for 200 dang years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, he's literally putting things in there from the 1800s, and he's not giving any details or nuance to any of this, because of course that kind of starts to ruin the story when you actually look into some of this stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's an evangelical member who probably listens to maybe some of the pastors that we talked about. And he's just kind of respouting, at least this is what I see. He's just kind of regurgitating some of the things that he's heard maybe his pastor say.
And he's an employee of the Daily Wire.
Yeah, I can't remember what he's an editor. I'm seeing someone said in the chat. So yeah, I think he's the editor-in-chief right now or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, if the question is it overblown that you're canceling your Daily Wire membership, I would say totally overblown. Like, I don't know. I would say, I think, was it Clavin?
Clavin.
Clavin, there you go. Like, I know Ben Shapiro, I know Matt Walsh, I follow those guys. A few months back, he talked about how, like, our church is more on, like, the progressive end of the spectrum, and I was like, hey, that's not exactly right, or like, and so my thought was like, you need some LDS representation on there. We need to get some good conservative LDS members up there and take part in the conversation. I mean, if this were Ben Shapiro or Clavin or Matt Walsh saying like, Mormonism's evil, then okay, all right, maybe I'd think about my Daily Wire subscription. But this guy, I don't know. I
didn't know who he was before. And
right. Sometimes it's a little embarrassing.
I'm almost thinking,
go ahead.
There's got to be something I'm missing here. Like, am I missing part of the story? Because like this isn't really much. I know that the conversation went on a little bit further than this, and he kind of like just doubled down. But like someone like in the chat is saying like, don't give money to those that hate us. It's like, well, I got news to you, because at every company that you buy something from, I almost guarantee there's someone there who has these exact same thoughts, man. Like we got neighbors. We're kind of surrounded by people who, hate us, and maybe like I said, maybe I'm missing something to this story.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm missing something too, because like, to me, what would cause me? So first of all, anything that I've seen from the Daily Wire, I typically have agreed with, and they're of my ilk, politically speaking.
Yeah.
What would cause me to leave them? Maybe if they put on a full campaign, like fighting against the prophet, fighting against the church, exposing the Mormons, then I'd be like, hey, you've kind of abandoned us, or, and I think the powers that be, they know that a lot of members of the church are conservatives. They know Utah is red, and we're very constitutionally minded for the most part,
The last thoughts on the Daily Wire. Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone like adding more details about this. I know some people are happy cutting. It's like, save your money, I guess, if you don't want it. But
I guess so. I mean, does that mean that you don't agree with what they say about the Constitution and about America? I don't know. I don't.
They're not a religious organization, so it's like
right. And I don't want us to be so allergic to people who have an incorrect assumption about us. Like, no, let's jump into the conversation instead of being like, oh, you said something we don't like, now run. Like, I don't know. Let's grow a spine a little bit.
Oh, you heard it here first. Yeah, no. The funny thing is I think they've kind of noticed, and some of the hosts are saying more positive things about the church, because I'm guessing that like a lot of their subscribers, it probably is a higher percentage of church members than the normal population. So
there's probably some PR damage control going on right now.
Right.
I would assume.
The Daily Liar is what some people are calling it, which I think is pretty funny.
Jeez.
So anyway, feel free to disagree in the comments below, but
do not disagree or we will stop this right away.
Yeah. So it's kind of, and I know some people are probably taking it like way more lighthearted. They just kind of think it's funny, and and closing their subscriptions because like, oh yeah, we'll eat this.
Yeah, right.
I just heard an ad today that they're 40% off their subscriptions, so it sounds like they're trying to bring people back. Right. So perfect timing. If you canceled, then you can resubscribe for cheaper. So there you go. Our boycott worked. I'm just kidding.
Right. It's a ploy.
Yeah, but let's not be the people who boycott stuff. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So now it's time for our segment called About Breaking News. These are the Big Ear Bulletin. Big Ear Bulletin. Here it comes.
Run.
All right. You knew it was coming. The biggest news of the year. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce announce their engagement.
Woohoo!
So I had the headline of like, does this mean that marriage rates are just going to skyrocket because all the single women who follow Taylor Swift are like, you know what? She's right. It's time to settle down. It's time to get married. It is time. If any of you are listening, if you're 25 or older and not married, you are a menace to society.
Thanks, Brother Brigham.
Yeah. Your thoughts? You're a musician. Do you care about any of this?
So I am a musician and I am an avid football fan. Not a Chiefs fan, but I do like Andy Reid, the coach.
Are you a BYU football fan?
Here's the thing.
Are you an ASU football fan? What are you? Who's your team?
If it was ASU versus BYU, I'd do BYU. I'm more the pro. I like pro. And don't hold this against me. I'm embarrassed. Cowboys all the way, man. I grew up in New Mexico, and so we didn't have a team, and it was the early 90s. So I'm like, of course I'm going to choose the Cowboys. So I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life. And yes, it's embarrassing. Yeah, and we are awful now. But I'm happy for Taylor and Travis. It's okay. I know a lot of football fans are like, we never want to see Taylor Swift again. And I will say it is a little bit annoying, but at the same time, like, she's the biggest star in the world. Of course, the NFL cameras are going to pan over to her. It's annoying, but whatever. I don't hate it.
It's funny. I used to really like Taylor Swift before my mission, and then I came back, and she had exploded in fame by the time I came back. Like, because she was just like a normal country singer. She was popular, but not like the most famous person in the world type popular.
Right.
And I came back, she went all pop and exploded.
She used to be country.
She used to be country. I liked her when she was country, and her albums that were country, I love. I still love.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this: if this means that she's gonna turn back into more of like the conservative country type music she used to do, I might just become a Swiftie yet again.
Oh no!
Because now this is a good thing. This is a wonderful thing. Marriage is beautiful. So I'm glad this is happening. Like, maybe she'll settle down, and some of like the more scandalous pop will start to, settle down, and it'll be more like chill love.
I hope so.
And God.
Her latest album cover is pretty dang racy. I don't know if you've seen. There's a chart out there that shows the number of curse words as her career has progressed.
Yeah.
And like in the early days, it's like nothing. She wouldn't say anything, and then boom, just right. And now, man, the cover of that new album.
When that went up, that's when I lost it for me. I was like, no.
I will say, just shameless plug here. Tomorrow, the Rock and Roll Fireside, I'm releasing a video all about losing your light in the entertainment industry. So we go into that type of thing a little bit. So,
dude, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
You kind of, in order to get famous, you kind of have to sell your soul. I think.
That's the question.
But maybe, maybe things can be, they can be regained for sure. But like, look at it. This is good. This is good for the country. This is good for conservative.
I'm happy.
Marriage, especially in the theology of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there's nothing more beautiful than marriage with a man and a woman. This is what needs to happen. And so it's a cultural shift that I hope will like lead to more marriages across the board, because it's kind of been like declining. So maybe things like this can help.
There has been a shift as well to where it is coming back up already. And I know that Swift and Kelsey are going to take credit for it, but marriage rates are already on the rise incrementally. So it's been very interesting.
And church attendance is going up a little bit from what I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. More people are going to church. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has had, this was awesome. It gave me chills when this member of the 70 came and told us. He says, in the last 12 months, there have been more convert baptisms, than at any other time in this dispensation. And when he said it that way, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And culturally. And so this is a part of it, man.
Yeah, geek out, make it a trillion members, and we don't. Yeah, well, we're baptized on both sides of the veil, though. So, and then we're going to make it $1 trillion, $1 per member. We want the membership to be so big it outdoes the growth that they have in the market. The excess tithing funds that are growing, the compound interest.
Exactly.
We got to outgrow the compound interest. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, and then so that's something. And then last, there is a new documentary. I don't know if you've heard about it. I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot of people are talking about it. It's released
I
about
don't
a
know.
week
I'm
ago.
nervous though. Yeah,
Dun-dun-dun.
you're making me nervous.
An Inconvenient Faith. An Inconvenient Faith. Have you seen this?
I have not. What is this all about?
You said OG, so like right away you're suspect this is anti stuff, which it's actually not intended to be anti. So do you know Jim Bennett, my buddy Jim Bennett? Him and I are becoming buddies. Which is funny.
Know him.
Oh, you don't know Jim? So he sings in the choir. He's a kind of a controversial character online because a lot of members see him as more progressive, which he is in a lot of ways. Like, and so anyway, you'll have to check out some of his content. I think you'll find it very interesting indeed. So he had a heated debate with Jacob Hansen at one point, and just recently had another conversation with Jacob Hansen, and I would talk to him a lot, and we agree to disagree on quite a few things, but he helped create this docuseries. So here's kind of the insight. The creator of this docuseries, we're getting back to the musical allusions here. So Dan Reynolds, the singer of Imagine Dragons?
Yes, I do.
He is no longer a member of the faith, from what I understand, but his brother is an active member of the faith, and his brother funded this whole project. So this was just released just a few days ago, and you can see that I watched every episode already. See those red bars? Proof.
Yeah.
That I went through all of it. So you don't have to. No, I'm just kidding. You can watch it if you want. They released all 9 videos. They got 1,000 subs right off the bat. I'm sure it's higher now already. It was going to be one giant documentary, but they split it into a 9-part series documentary. So each episode talks about different things. So the first one's the introduction, the Book of Mormon. They have 2 episodes on LGBTQ, which I think I'm not the biggest fan of some of the stuff that's talked about in there, because there's this underlying assumption that no one combats, that the church is harmful to LGBTQ individuals, which actually I would argue goes against the evidence scientifically. And now I know there's like anecdotes
100%.
Here and there, but like I have a lot of thoughts on that. Maybe one day I'll kind of like dig deeper into my science belt to discuss some of this. But the funny thing is, so this has some of your big name ex-Mormons in it. It has some big name members of the church in it. And it actually took them like years to make. I think they started filming this back in like 2019. And they're barely finishing it now. It might have been even earlier than that. So they kind of pieced it all together. Jim Bennett did a lot of the editing for it. And then some other people came in and helped edit it and finish it off. There's some people in some segments that I just like had to roll my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why are they having this person on? Like, what credentials? Like, oh my goodness, like there could have been a much better person to talk about this topic than this person. And the funny thing is I wasn't doing that for people like John DeLynn and Bill Rill. Bill Rill and John DeLynn, 2 big famous anti-Mormons, are in it. And they said like one thing that was like, okay. But the rest of the time, they're actually like, and people on their side are like, oh, dare you, you're being too nice. You're like, you guys edited it to make look John DeLynn like he's an apologist. They're actually like pretty like even kill and like, and actually are kind of praising the church in a lot of ways. And so I didn't like roll my eyes about some of the things they're saying. So if you watch it, it wasn't really them that made me do that. But there's some really good moments in it. There's some moments that are just like, oh my goodness. The Book of Mormon episode, I actually was like, that wasn't bad. That was pretty good. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to kind of get at that line where they're trying to talk to people who have just left the faith and people who are in the faith and kind of anyone in between. Mm-hmm. So that's like the kind of the target audience here is they're trying to like talk about, hey, look, this is why people stay in. This is kind of why people left. Let's all try and understand each other. So they're trying to get like a reaction for everyone. But some people watch it and they're like, this is anti-church. Some people on the other side watch it. This is like pro-church. How dare they? Like they're just making like the church funded this. Like some antis are saying that the church funded it, which is why the Reynolds brother came out and explicitly was like, no, like I want everyone to know I funded it. But yeah, anyway, I want to hear kind of your thoughts. I know you haven't seen it, but just based on what I've been saying,
Yeah.
What do you think?
Very, very interesting. Yeah, because when I saw it, I was like I said, oh, geez, because
Right.
all these documentaries keep coming out. So it sounds like it's a little bit even keel. But I don't know.
Yeah. There's parts that will make members roll their eyes at least. That are like,
I actually like the title.
do you?
Because
Because I was like, this sounds like an inconvenient truth. I'm getting like Al Gore
no,
vibes.
Full on. Like that was my first reaction. But now when you were talking about it, I was like, you know what? It is inconvenient. Being a Christian disciple is not convenient, especially when the world is pushing back on you. So I'm actually converted to this title here. Like, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, it's an interesting thing. I think, there is great benefit, in my opinion, for people from different sides of the aisle to come together. In my experience, the things that I have seen more often, and I'm in Arizona, is that when those things happen, and we're like, hey, let's all talk about this. I think strong, active members have become demonized, or at least the perception of being demonized is like, oh, you're too strict, you're too stringent. And I think maybe in some cases that could be true, but I think a lot of us are wanting to defend truth and are afraid to do it because of the lukewarm, let's meet in the middle, let's all be friends. And we should all be friends. We should all love each other. But I'm a little bit skeptical of anything that is truly embracing things that are not true. And I'm talking philosophies and doctrine. I'm not talking people. We should embrace all people for sure. But one thing that I'm concerned with is that people are being afraid to stand up for the truth, and they're being almost bullied. And it's like, okay, if you're in your elders quorum lesson or your Relief Society lesson, and someone says, you know what, elective abortion for personal convenience is totally okay. Somebody should be like, that's not what the church says. It's not what doctrine is. But I think for the most part, everyone's like, ooh, I don't want to cause a stir. I don't want to make this person leave the church. And so I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a like, hey, let's meet in the middle. Let's all be friends. But I wish there was a little bit more of Captain Moroni in all of us, just a little bit. Like there's got to be some truth that is defended, So without seeing the documentary, I'm not sure, but that I get those vibes from your description.
No, I think that's actually a really good take. And so I actually spoke with Jim Bennett on the phone today, and you want to subscribe because we're working on content, and I think it's going to be fun, people. So just subscribe. You everyone knows that I disagree with him, but it's fun. He's good TV to watch, that's for sure. Because he's very passionate. I'll just say that. But what you were just saying, is exactly right. And this is what I said to Jim Bennett today. I was like, I think this series will speak to a certain group of people, and they'll like it, and it would probably help them stay in the church. And there's other people who someone like Jacob Hansen speaks to a little bit more, where he does take a little bit more of like the approach that you're talking about, a little bit more Captain Moroni toughness. And I think that's fine. I think, everyone has different talents. Everyone has different points of views. Everyone has different things that kind of like resonate with them. And, I, for one, resonate more with like the Jacob Hansen type of dialogue and like debate type stuff. I like it. Not everyone does. So some people are going to watch this and like it. People who are probably a little bit more in like my camp, I suppose, or Jacob Hansen's camp, or it sounds like your camp, are going to watch this and not be like, and not think it's like the greatest thing in the world. But I tried to watch it like with an open mind. And so I do think this can do some good for people, especially those who are like on the edge and like leaving, who kind of think more in line with these kind of thoughts. I think it can help people stay and like kind of reconsider their faith. But like,
and that's a good thing. I'm starting to accept, or I guess appreciate the fact that we all have different talents, the fact that we've all got different purposes. And I think there is a place for the strong, plant the flag in the ground, and that's kind of what I would like to be. But I think there is also a place. I've seen a lot of members in my ward even who they say things so well and so Christ-like, and I'm like, there is such a good place for you here.
Yeah,
because we need to kind of counterbalance each other. Just like Paul says, like the hand has need of the foot, and the foot has the need of the hand. And so I'm coming around to that idea a little bit more, because early on I was very much like, no, it's truth, and everybody get the heck out if you don't subscribe to that. I'm like, and I still like, let's all gravitate towards the truth. Let's all do that, and we do need strong. And what's great is when you see like the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, you see that in action.
Yes.
You see the difference between President Oakes
Right.
and Elder Gong, Elder Christopherson and Elder Suarez. The Lord did that on purpose. Like, hey, we need some guys with a warmer touch, and we also need the ones who are going to break stone over your head so you get it right.
Yep.
And so I love the way that the Lord has built that church, and I'm trying to accept that a little bit more within its membership.
But there's a lot of controversy recently with kind of like Jacob Hansen, even within his own crowd, if you will. And it's like, come on, people, nobody is perfect at building the kingdom,
right?
Like nobody is going to agree 100% with everyone of like the best approach. But like, let's all just take comfort that like we all kind of want the same thing. We all can find solace in Jesus Christ, the Book of Mormon, the Restoration, and these beautiful teachings. And like some of us think about things a little bit differently than others. Some of us approach defending the faith different than others. Some are a little bit more soft and buddy with the ex-Mormons. I think Jim Bennett is more buddy with ex-Mormons and people on the edge. And some people take a harder stand. And it's like, you're going to speak to different crowds, and that's okay.
Exactly.
There's crowds who need to hear it. And I think
exactly right. Like your style, sorry to interrupt you there. Your style is needed for a certain person. You're not going to reach everybody.
Right.
And I had like, when I started making videos and getting all the hate comments, I expected that, because it's just going to happen.
There's so much hate,
I'm
man.
like, oh, right. Yeah. But then I was like, what do I need to do to make this a little bit more agreeable? And I was like, no, they're not my crowd. And that's okay. Yeah. Like if my style doesn't resonate with them, I'm not telling them to go kick rocks, but I'm like, I'm not for you. I'm for the people who will resonate with my style. And it's an interesting thing to try to come to accept that a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And I think, it ebbs and flows about which voice is needed at different times. And I do think we need a little bit more of the strong voices right now. And maybe that will change. But like, it ebbs and flows. Sometimes we need it more than others. Sometimes we need other voices to be more elevated than others. And that's why I think, I think people like Jacob Hansen, like yourself, and others that are being a little bit more strong and sticking to that, I think that's needed in the world right now. Yeah. And if you don't want to listen to it, that doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to listen to it. You can go listen to Jim Bennett.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think we could let's all be happy, everyone. And we are right at time. So everyone, do yourselves a favor. Go find Rock and Roll Fireside. Give him a subscription. Go subscribe on YouTube. Check out Brother Jacob's Jams. Yeah. Check it out on Spotify. You got to listen to Moroni's Farewell. Listen to the lyrics, people. It's a like I said, you don't have to like the stuff and listen to it all the time. But at least, we want to bring light into this world, right? Yeah. What a good way to bring some light by elevating a band that's literally making music about the Book of Mormon. Flipping awesome. So imagine if someone were to find that has never heard of the Book of Mormon. They're just like, wow, the music brings the spirit. So it's like, maybe they'll listen to it and learn more about the gospel. But great stuff, Kyle. Rock and Roll Fireside. Any last words before we end it here?
No, I mean, other than just one thing that with the Rock and Roll Fireside, I'm trying to accomplish is to get rid of spiritual apathy. Anything that anybody out there can do to keep that fire lit within them, get to gather in the kingdom and do it with courage and confidence and with fun. It is a great time to be alive. It is amazing to be a member of the church. Embrace that and just spread that out everywhere.
Heck yes. This is Ether's Elephant. That is Rock and Roll Fireside. Thank you so much for watching.